All right, everybody, welcome back into another new episode of the Sports Lounge here on WFRV Plus. I'm your host, Adam Ingles, and with me, Sean Kornuski. Sean, how's it going?
I don't know. It was picture day today, so
Yeah,
this
you're
is
looking
a little
good.
out. Thank you. A little out of the norm today, so
Yeah, and it's been a little while since we've been in the studio.
Yeah.
Indy did a great job filling in last week for us, but I'm glad to be
He
back.
tried to fill your spot.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
he did a good job. So, well, we have some exciting guests in the studio here today. Today, we're going to be shining the spotlight on one of the toughest, fastest growing, and most exciting sports communities right here in Northeast Wisconsin, the rugby community. Joining us in studio today are two key leaders from Green Bay Rugby, Ed Borowitz and Matt Getch. These guys have been instrumental in growing the sport locally, building a strong club culture, and helping introduce more athletes and fans to a game known for its physicality, strategy, and incredible camaraderie. We're going to talk about the state of rugby in the Green Bay area, how the club continues to grow, what it takes to compete in the sport, and how the community can get involved, whether as a player, supporter, or first-time fan. So Ed and Matt, so happy to have you here on the Sports Lounge. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome, guys.
All right, let's hop right into it. So take us back to the beginning. How did Green Bay Rugby first start? What year did you guys kick off in? And, how did it first get started in Northeast Wisconsin?
Well, I mean, Matt's old enough to know. I wasn't alive yet. We started in 1972, and it just was a bunch of blue-collar guys that got together and decided to make a club and traveled through Wisconsin playing all the other teams that we have.
Yeah. Okay, and then from 1972, how much growth have you seen in the last 40,
Yeah.
45, 50 years
Almost,
now?
yeah,
55,
yeah, going on 55. Exponential. Matt would be the one to ask that because, again, he's more of our historian, but we've gone from just the men's club to now where Matt was huge in implementing our youth program. Youth then goes to middle school, then goes to high school, then goes to men's. We just started a women's team in Wisconsin for Green Bay also. So we can honestly play rugby, boy or girl, from elementary school on to like senior women and senior men.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, in the early years, talking about it was volunteer driven. What did the foundational years kind of look like?
And as Ed said, it was a lot of guys there was like three guys back in the day that had any rugby experience at all back in 1972. A lot of them were St. Norbert students. And, they decided that they wanted to build a club. Guys coming in to St. Norbert's from out of state had been introduced to rugby, and they built that up. And, they had great seasons. They hosted one of the largest tournaments in the Midwest in like 1974 and had a big buzz. But we've been under the radar for a long time. And as you mentioned, it's growing. And I think the advent of the youth side has really grown it exponentially. Because
Right.
In 2013, when we started youth flag, we had 9 kids come to our first practice, and now we've got hundreds of kids playing just for Green Bay. But then there's also De Pere and Pulaski both have strong programs. You go down 41, and it's Fox Cities, it's Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, then Milwaukee and Madison also have strong rugby communities.
Sure. Rugby's one of those sports for me that always seems super interesting to me as I see people playing. I just don't understand the game enough. So how do you get that education out there about the sport? I mean, obviously there's similarities to football, there's similarities to soccer a little bit. What would you tell somebody who's just learning the game, kind of the benefits and kind of the cool things about rugby that should get them interested in playing it?
Yeah, the biggest thing is, right, you're out and about. Right now we're in a culture that's dominated by screens, where this gives you a reason to go out. You can move to any city in like Wisconsin, any city in the United States, and move and say, hey, I play rugby. You meet up with a local rugby club, and you instantly have 30 new friends. Right. That's a big part of our sport is the camaraderie of it. We're open, we're accepting. We always want new people. We're trying to grow. I mean, obviously, we're all very passionate about it, but it's great for your health. You get cardiovascular. We always usually go out and lift together, but again, then it's Green Bay especially. We're very involved in our community. Like that's a big thing for us. All of our men's players coach high school teams or the flag teams.
Mm-hmm.
We volunteer our hours on down, but we also work really close with Brown County Pals. So I think it's just we're easy to Google. Right now, the Six Nations is going on.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest tournaments in the world. It's on TV. I can't say where it's on because it's a competitor. Caught myself there.
That's all right. We got soccer.
Yeah. But it's just again, right? Like you said, oh, I don't know what's going on. I
Yeah.
don't know the rules.
Mhm.
It's the more you watch it, the more you understand it. You can kind of, there's not a lot of rules. It's not like soccer where it's like, oh, hey, you can't kick from here, but you kick from there. But yeah, it's easy to get involved. There's a lot of resources like YouTube but I
Mhm.
mean, just come out and watch the Green Bay men's team, the Green Bay women's team. It's one of those things where it's trial by fire. You just get thrown into it and you learn as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Matt, you talk a lot about the pipeline and development. I've seen a lot of these kids. My kid in particular, that took a huge interest into one of your camps. Talk about the development that goes into that pipeline and going from like the elementary age into adulthood.
Yeah, so and just building quickly on what Ed said, the other thing about rugby before I go into the pipeline is it's for everybody. I mean,
Mhm.
whether you're a small kid, big kid, tall, fast, slow, there's a position for you in rugby. So I mean, that goes right into the youth where we take kids that don't have never seen a rugby ball, and like you said at that first camp, we had probably 3/4 of those kids had never played, and by the end of it, they were passing the ball and it looked like they were playing rugby. And we can then continue to build on that. We start out with flag; it's the easiest. Unlike flag football, where the coach has to tell them what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Once they're out there playing, they have to make the decisions, and that's what I love about giving kids that ability to make.
They're on their toes the whole time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fast. It's quick. Games are only 2 7-minute halves.
Mhm.
So, and we can rotate a lot of kids in and out. So everybody gets to play. So again, like Ed said, learning by experience, getting out and actually playing is the key. And then as they transition into the middle school tackle, then we focus heavily on the technique of tackle because unlike football, you're not wearing helmets and pads, so the technique is very important. But the lack of those helmets and pads, many parents will say, "Oh, that's dangerous." Well, it takes away that false sense of security because kids that are playing football and use the wrong technique can still get hurt pretty badly because they're using their
Yeah.
head in ways that they shouldn't, or they feel invincible. Where when you're playing rugby, you're not invincible, and you have to pay attention to technique more so. And we focus on that safe way of tackling, and then continue to build. That's why we started the middle school because when you get to high school, suddenly you're playing against you're a freshman, you're playing against a kid that's 18 years old and
Right.
big and strong. If you have that technique, you can beat them.
I was learning a lot just going into the camp, and so like my frustration with like football in particular is just head injuries, and you talk a little bit about that, but then you told me that the tackling isn't even the same. So for parents that don't know, what are the tackling protocol? What is the tackling protocol?
Go ahead, coach.
So, yeah, the biggest thing like football tackling, they always teach you to cross your head, put your head across the body to stop the ball carrier. We teach you to put your head behind the ball carrier, kind of get out of the way. I know a lot of sports fans out there, right? We all know the Legion of Boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pete Carroll was a really big rugby supporter, and they actually taught rugby tackling. And like that's one of the things that attributed to making that defense so good. They never missed tackles. We always have to wrap up. It's kind of like if you take the aspect of wrestling where I can shoot you with a double leg takedown, but I can't just pick you up and dump you. Like that's extremely illegal in rugby. Get you kicked out of the game. So you have to be in control of your body all the time. You can't
Right.
dive into somebody. You can't leave your feet. So there's a bunch of things that are put into the process of the techniques to protect the ball carrier, but also protect you as a tackler.
Right.
That brings up an interesting point. You talked about how kind of, you play rugby and instantly you have, 30 friends or whatever. So, and you teach like a discipline in the game. So what kind of foundation is Green Bay Rugby built upon? Are you looking for, discipline, respect, and community? You talked about that. So how much is the game translate to how, making kids become better adults?
Yeah.
I'll jump in on that one.
Yeah.
With the youth side, many youth sports, it's all about the few at the top that are the best athletes that are competing and you're winning. Don't get me wrong, we love winning, especially, but at the younger levels, winning is an outcome. It's not the goal. We want to do exactly what you said. We want to develop the best kids into the best adults that we can. So it is that the respect. Many sports, you talk back to the referee. You talk back. That's not allowed. In rugby, the referee is called the sir, and you have to address him. And actually, only the captain of the team can address them. And there's penalties if you talk back to the referee. And that kind of carries all the way through. So respect, the work ethic, the teamwork. Rugby, it's all about communication. Even listening to Ed coaching this last weekend and the coaches getting those high school boys to talk to each other. They're coming in from various schools and they don't have that same camaraderie initially because they're a bunch of kids that don't know each other.
Right.
And getting them to become a team and talk to each other and communicate. And what I've seen is that just carries over into real life of you're going to deal with things that aren't fun and you have to work through them. And in rugby, we always talk about it's not when you get tackled, it's not the fact that you have that initial pain. It's what do you do afterwards, and you get back up and you jump back in,
Right.
and getting kids to be resilient and pop back. When something hits them, it just doesn't work right, and they get to pop back up and make a good decision.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about youth ball. We're going to take a quick break. I want to talk more about this when we come back.
All right. We'll be right back here on the Sports Lounge.
All right. Welcome back to the Sports Lounge with Sean.
Just Sean now.
Just Sean right now. Yeah, I get to bring it back. I'm just kidding. That's my buddy Adam over there. But we have got Ed and we've got Matt here from Green Bay Rugby. We're going to talk a little bit about youth flag. Getting into the game early. Let's talk about for families that are unfamiliar with rugby, what is flag rugby and how does it differ from traditional play?
Well, flag rugby, the biggest difference is there's non-contact. So we wear the flags, and unlike like flag football, play doesn't stop when the flag gets ripped. So basically, it simulates a tackle. The kid that is being tackled still can take 3 steps or 3 seconds to pass the ball to the next player, and then the defender has to give the flag back to again take that time that they would be getting them off of the ground from a real tackle, but play continues and. Basically, you get 5. If a defensive team stops the offense 5 times, it's a turnover, and the ball just goes back the other way. So it's just constant action.
What kind of lessons are they learning at that young level beyond the sport?
Yeah, and again, going back to what we talked about earlier, teamwork
Yep.
and communication are key.
Camaraderie.
That's
I mean,
fun is our first priority. Kids in youth sports, sometimes the pressure gets added in my opinion, too quickly.
Right.
We want kids to have fun, play with their friends, and run around, get some exercise, but also, again, work together and, again, for us, fall in love with the sport.
Yeah.
Because then they can play the rest of their life.
And you mentioned before about, where everybody's just addicted to screens, right? And a lot of these kids are their whole lives are in front of their screen, right? So, and they're always used to seeing this instant gratification and trying to get their highlights and things like that. But rugby seems like the ultimate team sport and take a lot of individuality out of it and really buy into the team sort of philosophy. So can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, even at practices, because obviously at every age level, there's kids that are above average and they are taking over. At many practices, if they've scored too many times in a practice, we'll say, hey, no, you've got to pass the ball. Because, when you have kids that aren't able to participate because their friends or teammates are just running all over the field, they tend to hit the sideline and not participate as much. So we have to work to getting everybody involved. And one of my favorite stories is CeCe Rose, who, she was one of the first girls in our program. And, she was always in the right place, but the boys wouldn't pass to her. And over time, finally, they started passing to her, and she started scoring. And she just got back from the U20 national team camp.
Wow.
Again, the fact is, we work on that and getting those kids playing together, and suddenly you take those strangers and they become friends and teammates.
At the youth level, or at the flag youth level, is it co-ed or is it boys and girls?
Yeah, so the flag is K through 8, 8th grade, and it's co-ed, split up into 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd and 4th grade, 5th and 6th, and then 7th through 9th.
Sure.
So I mean, and I say K through 8, but it's in the summer. Our flag program is always in the summer, so it's coming out of 6th through 8th is the team that's together.
Are you seeing more growth right now in Brown County, like with the youth flag?
Yes. Again, 13 years ago now. Wow. We had 9 kids at our first practice. We've got a couple hundred kids playing
Wow.
in our
That's great.
flag program.
We have
Wow.
the largest youth program in the state of Wisconsin.
And what feedback are you getting from parents?
It is all about, well, a couple of levels. One, it's not 5 nights a week and all weekend. Our practices, we only practice 1 night a week, and the tournaments are Saturday mornings, basically from 9 until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And now that it's growing, it's starting to take a little bit longer to get through those tournaments, but it's not a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No.
Summer in Wisconsin, people still have cabins up north,
Yeah.
or they have other things going on. So we give them the best of both worlds, something that's new and exciting for their kids, but they can still have a life outside of it. And then also the fact that we are very inclusive. We got kids from, heck, we got kids coming from Peshtigo, Kewanee, Manitowoc, all coming in. So kids
All
are
walks of
over.
life, no
All-
income,
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's very
restrictions on that.
affordable. Matt does a great job with that, with sponsorships and everything along those lines. But again, right, it's nice because it's not, hey, you need to be here 3 days a week or 5 days a week. It's not the travel team where it's, hey, if you're not here, you miss one game, you're gone, or you got to take a second mortgage out on your house to pay for all the kids,
Right.
Like we all see that
I know.
joke
I
all the
have
time.
girls in dance. I know.
Yes.
And speaking of just all the kids, everybody plays. There's and when we split up teams, because we have so many kids playing now that we have multiple teams in each of these tournaments, we try to split them up evenly because we found that the kids that are learn the best playing with some of those kids that are a little bit better.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
forces them to cross over those those school lines and everything else. And suddenly we got kids from West Pier being friends with kids from Pulaski and
All over.
and at the high school level, they're not exactly the most friendly.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
it's
That transition that goes from flag to you're getting to middle school and high school. Where do you see the commitment to the sport and the intensity? How do you see it elevating from one area to the next?
I mean, coming out of middle school, we have 7th and 8th grade tackle. So they get a little taste of it there, but then we get into high school. Like our Green Bay high school team it's fairly competitive. Matt knows way more about the statistics than I do because I just take it year by year. But our coaching staff is great. We ask a lot of those kids, but they also know in the long run, like we're there to like make them better. And watching somebody that doesn't play football or they only play rugby, they've only started playing rugby in kids, and now they're going to college on a scholarship. It's the whole. They buy into what we're trying to teach them. The kids are great. They're respectful. They sit and listen. They want to learn. But just watching the transition from that 8th grade kid,
Yeah.
that 8th grade tackle, and you're like, wow, this kid's like 90 pounds.
Yeah.
And then like, oh hey, you're a senior and you're 6'4", 200 pounds. It's like, all right, cool. Now we're going to college. Good for you. Like, congratulations.
Yeah.
So they develop and they have more accountability
Yeah.
and they're learning those
They're-
values.
Yeah, they're getting the
Yeah.
aspect of like, coach may be tough on me,
Mhm.
but like it clicks in their brain. I always call it the aha moment.
Right.
When they're like, oh no, I get it. Like, I dogged that last phase. I should have been there. That's why they're getting on me. And then it clicks, and then you just watch it flow through the game, and watching like young kids like that just. I don't know, man. I love it. It's like watching their brain just hit it.
Yeah.
They're doing things like you don't even gotta yell. You don't.
Right.
You gotta run this play. They're just like, no, we're running. No, we're gonna run X ball here. We're gonna run a red crash over here. We're gonna drive a purple this way. And it's like, as a coach, like, you get to sit
Nothing else
back.
to say, yeah.
The coaching staff, we just sit back like, yep, job's done.
Right,
We
right.
did it.
I don't really think that stops going into college. I mean, we had some GB girls in here that were talking about like pretty much the same thing. They're saying, hey, when one's lacking and falling behind, somebody's got to step up
Yeah.
for this
Pick
team.
your teammate up.
Somebody's got to climb the hill, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yep.
So going through some of the opportunities, for college exposure, going through, like the high school programs, are there scouts that come out from different
Yeah.
colleges a lot?
Yeah. So right now we're very lucky in Green Bay. We have a lot of our kids that graduate and they go into different colleges. There's different programs that they can go to. We have it's called Badger Selects, but it's a Wisconsin select side team. We take kids to different tournaments, like all throughout the country, and that's where a lot of the talent acquisition comes from. USA Eagles are our national team. They have ID camps that our kids get invited to. I mean, we have a handful of kids that just got back from Ireland. They get back from New Zealand. like Matt mentioned, CC Rose, James Rose was in New Zealand. He just got done in a camp with the actual like the USA Eagles team for the Olympics and the World Cup coming up. So like we have a lot of great exposure in our city. We have kids that are, Nate just signed a scholarship deal to North Carolina for Charlotte, for the University of Charlotte. We have girls that went to Loyola. Like we have
You guys are just putting a resume together.
We're really
for
lucky.
these kids.
Like, we're really
That's
lucky.
awesome.
And a lot of it though is like the work that Matt and all the coaches have done of letting, that foundation, right? Same thing as a sport, right? Your foundation is key. How do we build the foundation the right way? How do we get the right attitudes? Because our kids can go talk to a college coach and be like, this is what I do. This is what I know to do. I can do this. They're not my coach needs to talk to you because I don't know. Like we really focus and drive on raising young leaders.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Like I need you to think for yourself. You need to make good choices. Like that's what a lot of this sport does on the field. And that's how it transitions off the field. Like, hey, I shouldn't make that pass, or hey, I shouldn't do that. That's a bad choice. And like I said, like watching on the field click is awesome. Like watching your kids like sign their like college intent letters to get their deal. Like listening to moms saying, "Hey, my son would have never went to college if it wasn't for you guys." Like I get goosebumps talking about it now. Like we have so many kids like out of the Green Bay area that would never have gotten that exposure to a college at all.
Well, Matt, Ed, I mean, we need more coaches like you in all sports. The inspiration is there, and you give the kids the tools. They just have to push the door open, and I think that that's so important as a coach to give that kind of credibility to your kids and have them pursue by themselves. We're going to take a quick break here, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about adult men's and the new women's coming right into the next end of our show.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
It's
we'll
gone
be
by
back.
fast.
All
All right.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Sports Lounge here on WFRV Plus. We got Ed and Matt from Green Bay Rugby talking all the good things that rugby has to offer. We've learned a lot. So we talked about youth. Now let's talk about the men a little bit. So, it's been a long tradition in Green Bay, the rugby team, men's rugby team. Just kind of what does that look like now? What does regional competition look like for you guys?
So again, right, men's rugby, we're super beneficial. We have a D2 side. We travel throughout the Midwest, Minnesota, Illinois, Iowa, Indianapolis. From there, you go to bigger regions. We usually play like in St. Louis in the super regionals. Eventually, we've been very lucky, we're very successful. We have a D3 side. They play Wisconsin teams mainly. Again, they're competing for a playoff spot as well. Ideally, both teams win a national title would be great. That's always the goal. So there's a lot of competition. We travel quite a bit. We travel pretty heavy. We make sure in our club like winning's what we want to do.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Transition out of the learning into the results.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Matt, what does the strong culture of rugby in Green Bay mean to you?
Again, it's been such an important part of my life. I moved up here after learning my rugby in college, and got up here, and exactly what Ed said. Suddenly, I had a brand new set of 20 plus friends. We were a little less. We had a few less players back in the mid '90s, but those guys are still the core members of many of our programs. They're all still coaching and helping. Again, guys that are now, I hate to say it, but 31 years. It's been so important to me. I mean, we've watched each other get married. We've kids starting to coach each other's kids. It's just we consider rugby an extended family, and now with the youth programs, we've got hundreds of kids in our families.
The women are kind of knocking the door open right now.
Yeah, we
too,
just started that, man.
okay,
I'm super
all right.
pumped.
What have you seen in the rapid growth with women and driving the momentum?
So like the big thing is again, right? All these girls coming out of these youth programs, going into high school. They're playing high school. Green Bay women's just won a state title with their team, and again, it's just that drive of where are they going to go? Where are they going to play now? So talking with Matt and talking with some of the local girls, I'm like, well, hey, look,
Yeah.
we need a women's team.
Shout out to District Poorhouse.
Yeah, they just hooked up
I
with
just
us.
saw that.
Man.
Yeah. Those
They're
are
great.
good people over there.
Yeah, dude,
Very
they've
good
been
people.
awesome to work
Yep.
with. They've been working with Lexi and Elise a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
huge. We're going to get that logo, drop it on some shorts, so it's going to look real good. We just got the new logo done. We did all the paperwork, so we're ready to go. We start practice first week of March. Anybody wants to check that out, you can hit up Green Bay, gbrugby.org and hit up gbrugbycoach@gmail.com. We'll get you all the information you need to start. Like looking for anybody that wants to have some fun, learn something new, and again, right, learn that community of, hey, I don't, I mean, I have a lot of friends, and I'm gonna go talk to these people, and boom, you're family now.
And it was really nice to see, and forgive me if I forget her name, but she's all over like national media now. She's a rugby player.
Alona Mar.
Oh yeah, and all about positivity for women
Yeah.
and inclusion. So that's got to be really helpful to help recruit. And when you have somebody on a national stage like that.
Yeah, it's a springboard for us, right? Because it helps draw that attention, right? Again, and building the foundation of this team for the next 50 years to rival the men's team that's the plan.
Give me a quick 30-second little talk about the PALS program.
PALS program, right? So we do a lot of work with the PALS program and the Brown County Family Services. I don't even know how many years we've been doing it. Eric Osborne is huge with this, but we sponsor Christmases for a bunch of families that probably wouldn't be able to have a Christmas. I think we're at like 17 different kids that we give a Christmas to, and then we donate a bunch of toys to the Brown County Family Service Center, so that way everybody's got stuff for Christmas. PALS, we just got done doing the ice skating thing over at Howard Commons with them. There's more things coming up with us and PALS. It's just something we really believe in. We're working on, helping the big PALS help the little PALS and hopefully get them into flag rugby, and, the men's team will cover any type of cost that would be, but getting those kids into a program where they see leadership and they see like, hey, this is like foundation of life, and this is making the right choices, and this is how I'm held accountable for things I do. Just us having a really big impact on the youth of our community, which is super important to us.
How can the local families find information about this?
Right, follow us on Facebook, our socials. Do the the gbrugby.org. It's always posted on there. You can contact Matt or I. Our contact information's on there. That's at gbrugbycoach@gmail.com. That goes directly to me. But yeah, like our partners, like we have Aurora Baker is a huge. There's so many partners I couldn't even list them all. But like Paula over at Chambers Hill, Blue Collar, like that. Just showing up with truckloads and truckloads of gifts and clothes for these kids. Yeah. Chris Rogie and I play Santa Claus, and we dress up, dye our beards, and a whole bit. And it's cool because you see the world's bigger than you, right?
Yeah.
Like you get to see these kids one day, and like you make their life, like you make their year being just, hey, I'm here having fun, and like this is everything to them.
It's stuff that they remember too.
Yeah.
They'll remember their whole life.
Yep. Yeah.
Somebody
like
stepping up and doing this.
Like helping, like we'll donate, I think last year was like 1,500 presents to the families, like the Brown County Family Services. And those presents are for like parents, like, hey, here's a soccer ball. Like it's us trying to get recognition for this. It's us trying to like help those families build and like, just be better and elevate everybody, right? Like it's our community. It matters.
That's great.
All right, last question. Future of Green Bay and rugby. What does that look ideally in 5-10 years? What does that look like?
5-10 years. It's going to be in the town of Lawrence, Wisconsin. We have our new complex. We just got it built. We got the earthwork done. We got our what do you call it?
Concession stand.
Utility building, concession stand put up. There's seed growing in the ground. We got grass. We're going to get goalposts in this year. And then in 5 years, hopefully hosting national tournaments.
Oh, that's exciting.
Where is this located?
Town of Lawrence.
In Lawrence. What's it close to?
Right behind the town hall.
Right
Town
across
hall,
the street
okay.
from right across the street from the town hall, right next door to the Sports Emporium.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Down the street from
Awesome.
ISA.
Awesome. Well, we're going to give you guys the floor right now. We'll start with Matt. Anything that you want, this is your plug.
Again, give rugby a try. Parents that are concerned about the risks, we downplay those, and there's so many more benefits. So again, the gbrugby.org, all of our information for all of our various programs is out there, and you can, ask us any questions at any time.
All right. That is, well, actually, Ed,
And-
go ahead. Go ahead.
I can go forever.
Real quick.
Yeah, right. We want everybody to come out and try it. Right. That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
Right? If you play football, if you play soccer, if you play volleyball, basketball, all that, wrestlers, like come out and give it a shot. Right. If 1% of every kid in Wisconsin gets a scholarship in football, that number's substantially bigger for rugby. Right. Like let's get you to college. Like let's build you as a person. I think
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of great stuff with rugby. Really happy to have you guys in studio. Learned a lot. Great conversation. So that'll do it for this episode of the Sports Lounge on WFRV Plus. For Sean, I'm Adam. Thanks to Ed and Matt, and we'll see you next time here on WFRV Plus.